Our channel features stories from real life. Subscribe so you don't miss out.
My parents kept saying, "Max, you're already 28. It's time to get married." Honestly, I knew that my bachelor life was dragging on. My friends were starting families one after another, but I still couldn't meet the one. On the advice of a colleague, I registered on a dating site. I scrolled through the profiles without much enthusiasm. The same selfies, the same phrases about love for travel and healthy eating. And suddenly, I came across a photo that literally took my breath away. The girl in the picture was unusually beautiful, but not the kind of flashy beauty that catches your eye. Something in her gaze was captivating. Such sincerity, such kindness. A modest smile, no provocative poses. Anna, 24, teacher. I wrote to her first. My heart was pounding, like in my school years, when I passed notes to a pretty classmate. She responded with a warm, detailed message. We started texting, and with each passing day I realized that she was special. After a week of virtual communication, I decided to propose a meeting. Anna agreed, but with one condition. First, our parents had to meet and give the go-ahead. This only charmed me more. Nowadays, girls rarely take dating so seriously. Mum and Dad were absolutely delighted with Anna and her family. A good girl from a decent family, her mother nodded approvingly. Her father was also pleased. It's obvious that she's well-mannered, with a head on her shoulders. Our first dates were like a fairy tale. Anna was an incredibly interesting conversationalist. We could talk for hours about books, films, plans for the future. It seemed that we thought alike, complemented each other. I remember how after the third date I was going home and couldn't believe my happiness. I finally met a woman with whom I wanted to build a serious relationship. Feelings flared up quickly, but it wasn't a one-day passion, but something deep and real. After 3 months of dating, I realized that Anna was the one I wanted to spend my whole life with. But before proposing, I decided to clarify one important question for me. One evening, when we were walking in the park, I plucked up my courage. "Anna, I want to ask you something important. Have you had a serious relationship before me?" She was confused for a moment, then quietly answered, "No, Max. You are the first person I truly loved. For me, it was fundamentally important. Maybe someone will say that I am old-fashioned, but I have always believed. If the heart tells you that something is wrong, then so it is. Of course, sometimes you see a beautiful stranger and your thoughts automatically go somewhere else. But this does not mean that you need to follow them. It is all about self-control and respect for your loved one." Anna looked at me with such honest eyes that all doubts were dispelled. A month later, I proposed to her. The wedding was modest, but very warm. Anna looked like a princess in her simple but elegant dress. When we exchanged rings, I thought, am I really the happiest person in the world? The first 2 years of marriage flew by like one day. We were incredibly happy. Anna turned out to be a wonderful wife, caring, understanding, with a great sense of humor. There was always comfort and harmony at home. I worked as an engineer in a construction company. Anna taught in an elementary school. The salaries were not huge, but we had enough. We dreamed of children, planned how we would raise them, and so, a year after the wedding, Anna announced the long-awaited news. "Max, we're having a baby." I remember how I twirled her in my arms in the middle of the kitchen. I thanked God for such happiness. The pregnancy was easy. Anna literally glowed with happiness. When our son Artem was born, I understood what boundless love is. This little bundle became the meaning of our life. Anna was a wonderful mother, gentle, patient, completely dissolved in motherhood. It seemed that life couldn't be better. But as they say, happiness loves silence. Everything started to change in the 3rd year of marriage. At first, the changes were almost imperceptible, but gradually became more and more obvious. Anna suddenly began to pay much more attention to her appearance. Before, she was naturally beautiful and didn't bother much with makeup and clothes. But then she started buying new clothes, signed up for a fitness center, although her figure was already great. "I just want to be beautiful for you," she answered my surprised questions. But for some reason, she had less and less time for me. Previously, we could talk for hours in the evenings, but now Anna was constantly busy with something. Either she urgently needed to iron, or cook for tomorrow, or call a friend. The phone became her constant companion. Before, she could forget it at home and not even remember it. Now she was constantly typing, reading, smiling at the screen. "Who writes?" I asked once. "Yes, colleagues from work. We're discussing a new training program," she said without looking up from her phone. I didn't want to believe in the bad. I trusted my wife too much. Anna never gave me any reason to be jealous. She was honest, open, and the thought that she could deceive me seemed absurd. One day, Anna asked me to find photos from Artyom's last birthday in her social network profile. She wanted to show them to her colleagues. When I logged into her account, I accidentally saw a message from a certain Robert. "Where have you been? Let's at least meet and talk. Can't we just talk as friends, now that you're married?" My heart sank. I showed the message to Anna. "Who is this?" "Oh, that's the former boss from the school where I used to work." The wife waved her hand. "He constantly whines, pesters me with all sorts of nonsense. I don't even answer him." The explanation sounded plausible. I knew that before we met, Anna worked at another school, then moved to the current one. Maybe the former boss really can't come to terms with the fact that a good teacher left. I believed it and forgot about this episode. A few months later, Anna asked permission to spend the night at her friend's house for the first time in her marriage. Elena is celebrating her birthday. The girls will get together. We'll sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk. It's been a long time since we've seen each other properly. I didn't mind, of course. Anna deserved a rest. She was a wonderful mother and wife and hardly ever left the house. "Of course, darling. Relax a little." She returned the next day happy, telling us how well they had spent their time and how she missed hanging out with her friends. A month later, the story repeated itself. Then again. I began to notice that these get-togethers with girlfriends had become quite regular. Once we had a fight over some trivial household matter. Anna got upset and said again, "That's it, I can't take it anymore. I'll go to Elena, at least they'll understand me there." I was angry. "Do whatever you want. Every time something doesn't go your way, you immediately run to your friends." But he kept quiet and let her go. He thought she would cool down and come back. My wife's phone has long been a no-go area for me. Anna never set a password or hid it, but I thought it was wrong to dig through someone else's correspondence. Trust is the foundation of marriage. But that evening, something pushed me. Anna was taking a shower and her phone was lying on the table and beeped with a message. I automatically glanced at the screen and saw the name, Dmitri. My heart started beating faster. I had never heard Anna mention a friend with that name. My hands were shaking as I opened the messenger. What I saw turned my world upside down. The correspondence had been going on for several months. This Dmitri wrote to Anna in exactly the same way as I once wrote to her at the very beginning of our relationship. The same tender words, the same romantic phrases. And she answered him. Answered the same way she answered me before the wedding. "I miss you. I'm waiting to see you. You are the most precious person in my life." These phrases cut my eyes. This was definitely not just a friendly chat. When Anna came out of the bathroom, I was sitting with her phone in my hands. She immediately realized that I knew everything. Her face turned pale, her eyes widened in fear. "Max, I can explain everything." "Explain," I said through my teeth. "Who is Dmitri, and how long has this affair been going on?" Anna began to make excuses, saying that this was just friendly communication, that I was misunderstanding. "Don't lie to me, I'm not blind. I miss you is friendly communication." She finally gave in. "We've been communicating for 2 months. 2 months, I exploded. "Judging by the correspondence, you have known each other for much longer." Anna admitted that this Dmitri is a married man, lives in another city. They met on the internet. He's married, he has a family, children. We just communicate, nothing more. But I felt she wasn't telling the whole truth. The next few days I was like a man possessed. While Anna was at work, I dug through all her social networks, emails, photos on her phone. What I found surpassed all my fears. In the hidden folder were photographs. The kind my wife clearly hadn't taken for the family album. No face, but I'd recognize that body in 1,000. Every mole, every line. These pictures were clearly meant for someone specific. Further down the gallery, there's a joint selfie in bed. Anna and some guy. So they weren't just texting, they were dating. I remembered the recent sleepovers at a friend's. I called Elena under the pretext of clarifying something about a gift for Artem's birthday. Hi, Elena. Is Anna home? She's with you, right? What Anna? Me. Max, I haven't seen Anna for 3 months. The world has collapsed completely. But that wasn't all. Digging through old photos, I came across a picture from 2 years ago. Anna and the same Robert who had been texting her. He had his arm around my wife's shoulders. Their faces were very close. Was she cheating on me from the very beginning of our marriage? That same evening I interrogated my wife. I showed her all the evidence I had found and demanded a full confession. Anna cried, begged for forgiveness, but in the end she told the whole truth. And it turned out to be even scarier than I thought. Remember how I recently went to an interview in the neighboring city? She sobbed. I met with Dmitri. And Robert. He blackmailed me. Said he'd tell you about my past if I didn't date him. I got furious. What other past? What could he tell us about? And then Anna said something that finally finished me off. He knew about Dmitri. That we had a relationship before our wedding. The world ceased to exist. That same Anna, who swore that I was her first love, who looked into my eyes and spoke of her purity and innocence, it turns out, was lying from the very beginning. When I calmed down a little, Anna told the whole truth about her past. Before I met you, I had an affair with Dmitri. We dated for 6 months, we were intimate. Then he said he wasn't ready for a serious relationship and we broke up. And you lied to me that I was the first. I was afraid of losing you. I knew it was important to you. And Robert? After breaking up with Dmitri, I was depressed. Robert was my boss. He courted me, but I did not reciprocate. He fell deeply in love, and I rejected him. Then I met you. And what next? 3 years after our wedding, Dmitri wrote to me, "Forgive me, but I can't forget you. I miss you." And you answered? At first I wrote, "It's been 5 years, forget me, move on." But he didn't let up. He bombarded me with letters. I'm like a child separated from his mother. You're the only one I've ever truly loved. And it touched you. I was a fool. I gave in to my emotions and started talking to him again. And then I couldn't stop. The worst was yet to come. Max, I took Artyom to him. What? When we met in that city, I took my son with me. I told you that I was going to the doctor. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My wife was taking our 2-year-old to see her lover. Anna, you wore a wedding ring. You took our son to a strange man's house. Didn't you ever feel shame? She cried. I was like in a fog, in some other state. I didn't realize what I was doing. According to her, there was no physical intimacy with Dmitri, only an emotional connection and one passionate kiss. I reread all their correspondence. What really got to me was that they never spoke about me once. As if I didn't exist. Only when Anna and I argued, she complained to him about family problems. It's been a month and a half since I found out the truth. I still don't know what to do next. I still love Anna. More precisely, I love the girl she was at the beginning of our relationship. The modest, honest one, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. But did she even exist, or was it just a mask? In these 1.5 months, I have lost 10 kilograms. Food does not go down my throat. Sleep is gone. I went to a psychologist, took sedatives. Sometimes my thoughts became completely dark. It seemed that life had lost its meaning. I am in unbearable pain. Pain from betrayal, from lies, from the fact that everything I believed in turned out to be a lie. Anna now says, "You know, it even made me feel better that you found out everything. No one will be able to blackmail me anymore." But I have questions that have no answers. First, she had an affair with Dmitri. Then she rejected Robert, but he couldn't forget her. Then she married me, lying about her past. After 3 years of marriage, she returned to her old feelings. And now, when everything has been revealed, she begs for forgiveness. Give me one chance. I realized that I was wrong. I want to be only with you. When we got married, I made a vow. Only death will separate us. But how can you live with a person you don't trust anymore? Every day I ask myself the same questions. Will I be able to love Anna again? The love that was before, trusting, reckless, can no longer be returned. But can something new arise? Will she betray me again? If she could lie at the very beginning of the relationship, if she could cheat after 3 years of a happy marriage, what will stop her from doing it again? Is it worth saving the family for the sake of the son? Artem loves his mother. She is ideal for him. But is it right to raise a child in an atmosphere of mistrust and pain? Anna swears that she loves me, but she herself can't explain how it happened. I was like a zombie. I didn't understand what I was doing. It wasn't me. But is that an excuse? Sometimes I try to understand what was going on in her head. Maybe she really loved me, but couldn't cope with the ghosts of the past. Maybe meeting Dmitri after so many years stirred up old feelings, and she lost control. But then why did she lie about her past in the first place? Why didn't she just say honestly, yes, I had relationships, but that's in the past? I might have been able to accept it if she had been honest from the start. Or maybe she's just like that, a person who can't be honest, who says what people want to hear and then gets caught up in her own lies. Now we live in the same apartment, but sleep in different rooms. Anna tries to make amends in every way. She cooks my favorite dishes, buys gifts, constantly apologizes. But I'm not ready for intimacy yet. We go to a family psychologist. The specialist says that many couples experience such crises and that the main thing is the desire of both parties to work on the relationship. Trust can be restored, she says, but it's a long process that requires honesty and patience from both sides. Anna is ready for anything. She changed her job, deleted all social networks, gave me passwords to all her accounts. She says that she realized what she lost and will never allow something like this to happen again. But is this enough? Is it possible to build new relationships on the ruins of the old? What is love? I thought I knew the answer to this question. Love is trust, devotion, willingness to be there in joy and sorrow. Love is when you want to make another person happy, when their happiness is more important than your own. But it turns out that love can exist alongside betrayal. Anna says that she loved me even when she cheated on me. How is that possible? Or maybe what she felt wasn't love at all. Maybe it was habit, convenience, safety. And her real feelings remained for that first one. Or on the contrary, maybe people are capable of loving several people at the same time. Maybe the heart is not as primitive as I thought. I told only my closest friend, Albert, about the situation. His reaction was predictable. Max, she lied to you from the very beginning. How can there be any talk of forgiveness? Get a divorce and don't suffer. But when I asked him, what should we do with Artyom? He thought, that's another question, of course. The child is not to blame for what adults do. Mom, of course, knows nothing about our problems. She adores Anna, constantly praising her daughter-in-law to me. Such a good girl, she loves you and her grandson so much. If she knew the truth. But I'm not ready to destroy her illusions. Old people have a hard time coping with such shocks. Last night I said to Anna, I'm ready to try to start over, but this will be a completely new relationship. The old one will never be the same again. She cried with joy, hugged me, and began to swear eternal love. But I stopped her. No need for words yet. Deeds are needed. Every day you will have to prove that you are trustworthy. I don't know if we can do this. I don't know if I have the strength to truly forgive. I don't know if I'll ever be able to look into her eyes again without pain. But I know one thing. My son deserves his parents to try to keep the family together. If it doesn't work out, at least I'll know I did everything I could. Over these past month and a half, I have understood a lot about myself, about people, about relationships. First of all, there are no ideal people. We are all capable of making mistakes, of weaknesses, of actions that we later regret. Secondly, trust is not a given, it is a daily choice, and when it is destroyed, it is many times more difficult to restore than to build it in the first place. Thirdly, love is not just feelings, it is a decision that you make every day, a decision to be there despite the difficulties. And finally, forgiveness is not a one-time act, it is a process that can last for years. And no one guarantees that it will end successfully. Now, as I write these lines, Anna is sleeping in the next room. Artyom is snoring in his crib. Outwardly, everything looks like a normal family idyll, but I know that there is a long and difficult road ahead of us. Maybe we can be happy again. What do you think?